Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Hudak. Every day, the Saints are in camp. Maddy Hudak serving as our camp correspondent. Good enough to join us again here as the Saints continue rolling along through camp, heading toward the first preseason game Saturday in Houston. Maddy joins us now. How are you?
I'm good. It's always good when Herb Jones and Trey Murphy and Teaspoon make an appearance at Saints camp.
Hey, has that been pretty common that they've had, I want to say, dignitaries or special guests like that throughout?
Yeah, Devontae Graham was there the other day. They kind of just walk on and observe kind of quietly in the corner. But it's really cool to kind of see those two teams really come together. You could see Herb really watching the defensive backs. Everyone was really curious if he would ever take a snap.
Not on Herb. It actually might translate. That would be pretty cool. See like a 6'7" dude out there in the secondary. See how it goes. By the way, yesterday Michael Thomas was the story, right? I mean, it was the offense kind of ruled the day. As I understand, they sort of flipped roles and it was more of a defensive day?
Yeah, the defense definitely won today. You could kind of tell that they took yesterday a little bit personally. And, Dalton, he had a little bit of an off day. He was 2 of 6 and connected on his last 2 passes. And there was, an incompletion to Thomas that he looked a little frustrated about. But really just the defense, I would also equally credit them with really, really strong coverage.
Maddy, what about as far as defense, some of like the comings and goings, Lattimore, Bond, Alontae Taylor? Can you give us an update on some of those guys and their status?
Marshawn Lattimore, this is the first time we had seen him out in practice since he left with that injury. He was working off with Charles Bird, one of the trainers, off to the side during practice. We did see Zach Bond out there. I'm really not sure what is wrong with him. Didn't look like he was doing any work out there. And then Dennis Allen said after practice that Alontae Taylor is dealing with a hip flexor, but he said it's not too serious. So just kind of, again, keep seeing those chess pieces kind of fill in for these guys. But it was really good to see Lattimore back on the field.
No doubt. By the way, when Lattimore's not out there, is it Bradley Roby filling his spot on the outside? It
was Alontae Taylor last week quite a bit, but Bradley Roby more so, yeah. He had been filling in for Garner-Johnson in the slot, taking first-team reps, but he's now kind of stepped into Lattimore's slot, and he really deserves some credit this training camp. So he said in his press conference at the beginning of camp that it took him a little while. You forget he was traded for 4 days before week 1, and, saying that it's kind of a complicated defensive system back there. He shined at slot. He signed in cornerback. I've even seen him drop back and split safety. I think he's up to 5 interceptions now, including one today.
Maddy Hudak is with us, our Saints camp report. What about the quarterbacks? Andy Dalton had a good day yesterday. Still no Jameis. So, and how did they look today? Dalton, Book, and did Costello participate today?
Costello, I don't recall seeing him, taking snaps under center. He was working with the quarterbacks, but didn't really see much of him. Wilson, like I said, kind of had more of an off day, but just the offense in general looked a little off, a little sluggish. I don't know if, the heat or the tiredness is just kind of getting them, but I thought Ian Book impressed a little more today. Andy Dalton is definitely the star of yesterday. And Book, the only knock I'd say on him is he holds onto the ball way too long sometimes. He should have had 2 sacks, and Peyton Turner to get a sack on him, and I think passing on, and I think maybe Granderson had a combined sack. Sorry, it was Jordan Brown. But Ian Book showed a lot of poise in the 2-minute offense. So we didn't really get to see him in one last year in the preseason. He threw an incompletion and then ended the game with an interception. But after kind of throwing a few incompletions, he completed 3 straight, threw a really nice ball to Quan Baker deep up the middle, and really seems to have a good tempo and mental toughness of shaking off those drives. So I think we'll see quite a bit of him this weekend, and I'll be curious to see kind of what he does in a real game setting when he's holding onto the ball for too long. The pass rush will hit him in the preseason.
I remember the interception. It was kind of a Hail Mary under duress at the end of the game. Was that against Baltimore?
It was.
Yeah, okay. It's funny you said that. It just sparked my memory. By the way, do we know how the quarterback reps are going to be divvied up on Saturday yet?
I had to run from the press conference, unfortunately, because I had to go to Tulane. But I think that Ian Book is going to get quite a bit of time, and so is Dalton. I think that they said they're still finalizing kind of that depth chart and what we'll see this weekend. But I would be surprised, if we saw a lot of KJ Costello. I guess, it might be valuable for him to get a quarter or so, but I really think that we'll see both Book and Dalton take valuable time there because, at least for Book, last year he was behind Jameis Winston, Taysom Hill, Trevor Siemian. This year, he's suddenly with Jameis Winston out. He's second man up at this point, so he kind of has to get reps, and so does Dalton. I hate to say it, but the Saints have, lost a quarterback quite often in the last couple of seasons, so that QB2 really has to be just as sharp.
Maddy, flip it back over to the defensive side, and the other defensive backs that stood out today on a day where it was dominated by defense. Who caught your eye?
Definitely C.J. Gardner-Johnson, and I think he gets a lot of unfair flack, in how he's fared in one-on-one drills. And Dennis Allen made a really astute point afterwards, saying that those are skewed towards the offense. It's a single route. The quarterback knows where he's going with the ball. He doesn't have to read any defense. And when you're in the slot, you're not typically carrying receivers deep that often. It's not like he's Marshawn Lattimore out there, but he had a really, really good practice today. He definitely bounced back. He had a couple pass breakups and just some really tight coverage. And, it's safe to say he's kind of reassumed that starting slot role.
What about J.T. Gray as well? I heard he had a good day.
J.T. Gray have the tightest coverage on Taysom Hill that I have seen throughout training camp. He had him absolutely blanketed. It's the first time I've actually seen someone take Taysom Hill away as an option. Otherwise he's been literally impossible to stop. He had a touchdown from Book, and really kind of that red zone threat that I think, the idea with Jared Cook was supposed to be. But J.T. Gray is very quietly solid back there. He's played some snaps at free safety. He's taken some at strong safety. He's stepped in at, split safety coverage. But his blanket coverage with physicality and remaining completely in phase with Taysom Hill was my highlight of the day, even though, it's not like he was thrown to, but that's kind of the point of great coverage.
Yeah. Maddy, before you go, can you touch on Wil Lutz as well? It's probably, I should have been asking more about him. I mean, that was such a big factor a year ago, not having him, and what a revolving door place kicker was. Does Wil Lutz look like he's close to or at 100%?
Oh, well, if you're saying it, 31 out of 32 field goals so far seems to be pretty good for me. And only Ed was on a 57-yarder that he kicked right after the fact. So, yeah, you forget how valuable a kicker is until you don't have one. And kind of during last season, I had gone and looked back at the 2018 and 19 season. If you just kind of look how those games ended, there was a Cleveland game where they barely beat the Browns, the Falcons, Baltimore, where Justin Tucker missed his first extra point of his NFL career. And those records could have easily flipped with 5 games of 2018 and 2019 that he came in really clutch. And you think about the games last year that were lost by a field goal or 2 missed field goals for that fact. I think Lutz will, quite frankly, be one of the most valuable players on the team this season.
Yeah, keep that guy healthy by all means. I mean, it's just the margin. We all know the margin in the NFL is just so small. You got to have a guy like that. That's what. So the Ravens are paying Justin Tucker what they're paying him. Maddy Hudak, she's on Twitter at MaddyHudak_94. You'll give her a follow as long as the Saints are in camp. She's giving us our daily Saints reports. Maddy, we appreciate it. We'll talk again. Well, I guess we're not going to talk tomorrow. We'll talk again on Monday.
All right, sounds good.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.